Sarah Jessica Parker has one neat trick for getting out of potentially awkward fan interactions, and it involves good ol' Uncle Sam. From co-star drama to a humble home life, here's the truth about this iconic star. Sarah Jessica Parker was born in Nelsonville, Ohio on March 25, 1965. When she was about 2 years old, her parents Barbara and Stephen split up. In a 2019 interview on NPR's Fresh Air, Parker recalled, "I'm sort of mystified by how little trauma I feel about it. I can't pretend that it in any way sort of shaped my own feelings about marriage or a relationship. And that might be because my mother remarried fairly quickly, and my father had a relationship fairly soon after that." While Parker handled her parents' split relatively well, she didn't exactly grow up in the lap of luxury. She had a total of 7 siblings, and her mom and dad were far from wealthy. As she recounted to the New York Times in 2000, "I remember being poor. There was no great way to hide it. We didn't have electricity sometimes. We didn't have Christmases sometimes, or we didn't have birthdays sometimes. Or the phone company would call and say, 'We're shutting your phones off.' And we were all old enough to either get the calls or watch my mother's reactions, or watch my parents shuffling the money around." With that experience in mind, Parker doesn't get complacent about her earnings nowadays. As she told the Oprah magazine in 2004, "I'll never think I have money, because I spent so many years without. I've been financially responsible for so many people for such a long time, my family, that it's not enough to have money for myself." Parker has enjoyed an incredible career as an actor, but she almost ventured down a very different professional path. When she was a teenager, she studied at the American Ballet Theater for 2 years, and that period in her life has clearly stuck with her, as she divulged to The New Yorker in 2023. "I have dreams all the time that I'm still dancing." Considering this background, it's hardly surprising then that Parker was the one who suggested casting acclaimed ballet dancer Mikhail Baryshnikov as one of Carrie Bradshaw's love interests on Sex and the City. As she admitted in 2004, "I still haven't told him that I danced with ABT back in the days when he was there. I actually danced with him. I'm too embarrassed to tell him now." In 2018, Parker opened her first shoe store in New York City to promote her SJP by Sarah Jessica Parker collection, which she followed up with a flagship store in 2020. Plenty of celebrities launch retail products, but not all of them can actually be found working on the shop floor of their stores. However, Parker has indeed regularly been spotted at the New York branches of SJP, proving just how passionate she is about footwear.
"I always sign shoes. If you buy a pair of shoes, I will sign them, yes, happily."
A 2023 profile of Parker in The New Yorker featured a story about an intimate interaction that the actor had with a British customer. When that customer asked Parker for a particular size, she reportedly replied, "Don't worry, I can do the conversions. If you have the patience, then we have the time." Parker married fellow actor Matthew Broderick in 1997, and now they have 3 children together, son James and twin daughters, Marion and Tabitha. Both actors continue to have busy careers, but family is clearly their primary focus. In a 2020 interview with L'Officiel, Parker opened up about her home life, saying, "Being a mother is great. It's exciting. It's difficult. It's heartbreaking. All at once. Watching children grow up and face obstacles that we have never encountered before is very complicated. And not just for them." Parker also made it clear that she does her best to balance her busy work schedule with her parental duties. As she put it, "I love working outside the home, but being a mother is an indescribable joy. It is a balance that we all seek, but it is generally illusory." Parker and Broderick met in 1991 after he directed a play that one of her older brothers performed in. He then asked her out via voicemail, as she recalled to the New York Times. "He left a very charming, very self-effacing message on the machine. You know, 'Hi, it's Matthew Broderick. You had to use your last name.'" Parker and Broderick tied the knot on May 19, 1997. Then, in October 2002, they welcomed their son James. And in June 2009, they welcomed their twin daughters Marion and Tabitha, who were born via a surrogate. Parker sure sounds happy with her choice in spouse. As she told the Oprah magazine in 2004, "I have a fantastic husband. Here's the honeymoon part. I still think he's the funniest, wittiest, most clever man I've ever known. He's still the person who makes me laugh harder than anybody. And I still want him to laugh at me. It means something for him to laugh because he's so bright."
He's so smart. He's so funny. his choice of friends, the way he was living in New York, what was important to him.
As a person in the public eye, Parker regularly finds herself subjected to scrutiny over her appearance. But she's adopted a healthy outlook towards aging. In a 2023 interview with Vogue France, she explained, "I don't really think about my age. I don't see it as something to worry about. Well, I don't know if it's denial or that I just don't want to face reality. I don't see the point of trying to suspend time." Feeling judgment from the public about your appearance is pretty normal for a Hollywood star, but Parker has managed to sidestep all that, as she put it. "Nowadays, I don't really feel any pressure, but at times I have the impression that others may be more concerned about my appearance, which is rather strange. Like the fact that I have wrinkles or white hair. I think there are more interesting things to do with my time, don't you?" Even though she's been a famous actor for decades, Parker isn't adverse to riding the subway while she's home in New York City. Much of the time, that decision is simply a matter of convenience.
99% of the time, the fastest way to get there is the train.
Clearly, Parker is a seasoned New Yorker with no problem navigating public transport. But perhaps unsurprisingly, not every subway trip has been a joy for her, as she admitted during a Howard Stern show interview. "I've seen it all. I think I've seen what most people see who are regulars, which is people going to the bathroom, people clipping their nails, people finding pleasure. Anyone who's regularly used public transportation will surely recognize many of these same horrors and can relate to Parker in that we keep using it anyway." As a big star, Parker has lots of fans, and they often want to take selfies with her, but she isn't exactly a big fan of being photographed in these situations, and she has a number of go-to excuses to get out of these requests.
Sometimes I'll say they won't allow it. Who? And I'll say the government doesn't let me take a picture.
While some fans are bound to be disappointed by this policy, Parker does her best to be polite when people approach her.
Oh, that's
I'm always
brilliant.
really nice, but I tell them, like, I'm terrible at selfies. I don't take them well, but what's your name? How are you? Or I'll tell them I'm on a phone call. I'm so sorry.
The New Yorker also noted that Parker was asked for a selfie by one customer while working in her SJP by Sarah Jessica Parker collection store in New York, to which the actor replied, "I can't because I'm working right now." Though she did add, "You are free to take as many pictures of me as you want." When Sex and the City aired its finale on HBO in 2004, Parker truly thought it was the end of an era. At the time, she didn't foresee an on-screen reunion ever happening with her co-stars. As she told O, the Oprah magazine, "We'll always know one another, but I doubt we'll work together again. Well, Cynthia Nixon and I might, because we worked together before in theater, but we're forever in one another's lives." Of course, things ended up working out a little differently. The show's core foursome would reunite for 2 movies. And then in 2021, Parker, Nixon, and Kristen Davis came back once again for the sequel series And Just Like That. But back in 2004, Parker simply wished her co-stars well in their future endeavors. As she put it at the time, "I want the same thing for them that I want for myself, new experiences. I'm not worried about them getting roles. They'll go on and do exciting things that scare and challenge them too." Fans of Sex and the City and Just Like That have probably noticed that Parker never does on-screen nudity, and there's a very good reason for that. From the beginning of Sex and the City, she made it clear to creator Darren Star that she didn't want to bear all, and he respected her decision. Ultimately, she was just a bit too shy, as she admitted during her 2023 appearance on The Howard Stern Show. "I just never felt comfortable exposing myself that way, and I never had any judgments about anybody else doing it, but I just never felt comfortable being nude."
It wasn't like a morality thing.
While Parker didn't want to strip down herself, she did support her co-stars who were willing to take off their clothes in front of the camera. In the 2010s, the MeToo movement really took off, as plenty of people came forward with instances of abuse they experienced in the entertainment industry. Parker has her own such stories. As she told NPR's Fresh Air in 2019, "I started recognizing countless experiences of men behaving poorly, inappropriately, and all the ways that I had made it possible to keep coming to work, or to remain on set, or to simply just push it down, push it away, find a little space for it and move on. To be honest, I don't know why I either wasn't courageous or more destroyed by some of the things that I was privy to, that I was on the receiving end of." Parker didn't go into the details about her experiences, though she did also note, I think no matter how evolved or how modern I thought I was, I didn't feel as powerful as the man who was behaving inappropriately. Kim Cattrall's absence from season 1 of And Just Like That was an uncomfortable reminder of the narrative of a feud between her and Parker that has dogged them for years. Ahead of the first Sex and the City movie's 2008 premiere, The Telegraph reported that the cast had turned against Cattrall when she sought a higher salary while the show was still on the air. Sources claimed that they even made her eat alone during meal breaks. In 2018, Cattrall made her feelings about Parker abundantly obvious. Parker had publicly expressed her condolences to Cattrall after her brother's death. But Cattrall then responded on Instagram, "Let me make this very clear, if I haven't already. You are not my family, you are not my friend. So I'm writing to tell you one last time to stop exploiting our tragedy." When Parker was asked about Cattrall on the Hollywood Reporter's Award Chatter podcast in 2022, she called the media out for mischaracterizing the situation. As she put it, "I just wish that they would stop calling this a catfight or an argument, because it doesn't reflect reality. There has been one person talking." Cattrall did end up making a brief cameo appearance on season 2 of And Just Like That, and Parker told Access Hollywood that she was pleased with the scene.